Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Fourtress Finest, a spin-off of our regular podcast where we talk about something. And this time, we're continuing our journey through HBO's The Last of Us. This week, episode 4, Please Hold to My Hand. You have no idea how many times I've seen people say that this episode is called Please Hold My Hand. And it's made me so angry because it's not what it's called and people don't listen or pay attention, but it's fine. Yes. So listeners, we don't really have a non-spoiler part because we're getting right into it. So spoilers, obviously, from this point on, but nothing future spoiler past what this episode's covered or what the game of this episode is covered. That will be in a specific section later where me and Brian talk about it because Devin hasn't played and doesn't want to know. So look for the time codes for all that. But all of the other video game comparison stuff is pretty much free game at this point. So just be aware of that. With that, let's get into the episode, which a shorter one, definitely much shorter than last week. Hour and a half long episode.
Was so confused. Yeah, after watching something like that was like a feature length film, and then going to this, I was like, wait, looked at the time. I was like, what time is it? There's no way this is over already. Oh, it's only 50 minutes because TV.
Yeah.
Basically a bit of a setup-y episode, but with a lot of good stuff in it though. For personally, I thought I really enjoyed this episode. It got us back to our central two characters, and they're at least looking like it. They're growing bond as two people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, their chemistry is one of the things that I was probably, I don't want to say worried is the correct word, but I was most interested in seeing how it was going to work out because, it's a big part of the game is the fact that they, we know that they're going to start to like each other at least a little bit. And you spend a lot of time with somebody, and that tends to happen.
Right.
So I was curious to see, how's that going to work? I see Bella Ramsey and Pedro Pascal seem like they have a pretty good off-screen relationship. So I kind of wanted to see if they'd be able to get that correctly on screen as well. And it looks like they've done well so far. I actually enjoyed some of the little romps they've had in this episode, especially.
Yeah.
And some of the harder moments they've had in this episode, which we'll talk about for sure.
I mean, my only question, I guess, is Ellie this cheery in the game? Because she is remarkably okay with like very tense and dire situations. And she's just kind of like happy-go-lucky, like, oh, like I just shot this guy in the back and like, oh, like, but cool, look, like I get to hold my gun and learn how to do that. Like that's fun. And like, let me tell some jokes. Like,
I think it's a mix of a few things. One, just being a teenager, you're fucking stupid.
Exactly.
And you don't think you can actually die because everything feels like a movie or video game.
We forget that she's 14.
Yeah, she's very 14 in this, for sure.
Yeah.
Also, she kind of built different anyway. She was born during this shit. You know what I mean? She didn't grow up in a world that was nice to her.
Right.
So she definitely had to deal with some stuff.
That's kind of what I think about her,
Yeah, then on the other end, she probably doesn't fucking know anything. So she doesn't even know what fear feels like because she's never been scared before. Because
yeah, I mean, she's probably,
shit.
Yeah, like when they roll up in Kansas City, it's like, oh, wow, different, like a cool, big city. Like,
she's kind of like Bubble Boy.
Honestly.
And like, she's lived in a bubble her whole life. So like getting to, it's like when you like travel as like an adult in the real life where it's like, holy shit, you get to just go see the world and do stuff. Or even if it's just like leaving your normal like lifestyle of your home or whatever, like exploring new places is cool in our world. Now imagine that for 14 years of your life, you didn't do shit. And now you can go and see all of these things, Yeah.
Very true.
But now, since we're talking about, let's talk about the joke book, which is 100% from the game down to like they made the book. Like that's amazing.
That's cool.
Oh god! But before we get that, we got to talk about the magazine part. That's the very first part that we see, and I didn't think they were gonna put that in the show when we didn't see it at the.
Are you talking about the nudie mag?
The nudie mag. They did that down to almost line for line what it is in the game, and I thought that was hilarious because she even put it sideways for the centerfold. He's like, how did you get around with that thing? And I was like, there's no way they're gonna do that shit. That's such a corny ass joke.
It really is. I was surprised, like, and delighted that they did it though. Like, oh, it was great. Yeah.
Bye, dude.
Bye, dude. I did have a question with that. Is like, was Bill doing some stuff in his car?
Yes.
Why was that in the truck, bro? Was that like they had a fight one day and Bill had to sleep in the truck? Or
yeah, because they didn't.
I'm just asking.
In the thing in the game itself, she stole it from out of like his actual house. But it didn't seem like they alluded it that way. It felt like it was just she got it out of his car.
She found it in the truck, 100%.
So he got car nudes. My man got a porn addiction. He needs to go somewhere.
Maybe he had it, and then like he had it from just like around there, and then he just kept it because it's like you're never gonna get another one. So
that's a collector's item right there.
I guess
maybe
keep it,
Frank found it and was mad, or Bill found it and it was Frank's, and one of them got mad, so they hid it from the other one.
Right.
That sounds like a pretty standard like relationship shit for sure. Man was alone for a long time before he met Frank. Let's be real.
That's
Yeah,
also true.
exactly.
Maybe Bill had a car thing. I don't know. Anyways, let's move on past this. Yeah, no, I love that whole scene was great. Yeah, and with the pun books, everything. Like I guess this is why most of the creators are saying this is the truest adaptation of a video game that we've seen so far, dude. And I can't blame them.
And they're showing how effortlessly it could be done and not like, yeah, it's kind of cheesy, whatever the fuck, but it was like, that's all you gotta do. All we
Right.
want is to get the references that make us feel like you actually care about the
Mhm.
IP that you're working with. I think that's why I like Sonic the Hedgehog 2 so much, where it did the kind of the same thing, where it's like I'm
Yeah.
finally now seeing real references to the games that I played, and it's not just whatever the fuck. Like, yes, I see Master Chief's armor. That's cool, I guess. Master Chief did not do a single thing in that show that is what Master Chief does. That would make me be like, oh shit, now that's Master Chief right there. The only thing they did was they said something about Commander Shepard in the first episode, and that was like, oh, I know something about that because Mass Effect.
Right.
You didn't give me anything, bro. And they're softballs. You can lob anything and be like, ha ha ha. I don't even know. Look at that jackal. Gonna smash him. I bet he's gonna snipe me or something. Like,
Mhm.
Yeah, and
it's
that's
so
what I
easy.
hope that this with at least for now, I would say the show is a success. We'll see what happens in the next 5 episodes. But if it does, and this is a success of a show, I hope this does encourage other companies to,
Adaptations. Yeah.
we can do these and still be truthful
Yeah.
and But again, I even with this show, there are people that are upset. Granted, probably a lot of them are morons, but
Morons and bigots. The
Yeah.
yeah,
usual.
but so someone will always be upset, but I think the majority, as we've seen, think this is a very successful adaptation, and I'm obviously one
Mhm.
of. I think all of us are one
I
of them.
think, I mean, I mean, I talked to you guys about this off air, but I think the main thing for me is just the soul of the story. Like, is the story saying the same thing that the game story said? And if the answer is
Right.
yes, then the little things change along the way. Because sometimes, and I think it's very wise that they put those things in the after the credits of like showing
Mhm.
how, like, kind of explaining the logic of why they do a few things differently. And I think one of those guys is one of the game runners, so he's like, yeah, I was down
Yeah.
for it. And they also get like the voice actors who are like, this is so cool, I love this. So like it very much kind of soothes those like concerns, but
Yeah.
also it shows you where their logic is, what they're thinking, because you want to have some differences, I think, like
Mhm.
sometimes, but I think that if we're comparing it to Halo, like, Halo is just completely, it's not the same story, you know? And
And that was my biggest thing is I wanted somewhere between a shot for shot remake
right.
and a completely different story that I was looking at. Um, because I didn't see the reason of having these characters in there if it was going to be something completely different. But I also don't see the reason of watching a TV show if I could just play the game, which would be a more enriching experience of the same thing.
Mhm.
Um, I think they're hitting that middle ground pretty well so far,
Yeah,
from what I've seen. Like
I
the
think
changes
so.
they're making, like you said, feel like thoughtful changes and not just changes for the sake of changes. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
they're
Right.
trying to tell the same story but a little bit differently, and now they have that opportunity to actually change up some of the things they may have wanted to change in the story, 10 years ago, because this is a
Mhm.
10-year-old game at this point.
Right.
Exactly.
So that's a thing that most people can't do. When you remake a game, you can't just change the story. People be pissed.
Mhm.
Right.
When you make a TV show, you can just a little bit.
And I also
Yeah.
think it's definitely a bonus because, at least from my memory, this might be the first adaptation where one of the creators of the property is directly involved in creating the adaptation. And so I think that's a big bonus. So like people can be mad all they want about it, but it's the same. It's like with George R. R. Martin. I'm telling you, if he wrote that book, I would want the same way the show ended. I would want the same fire and brimstone from people. And at the same time, you can be wrong or you could be mad, but at the same time, how are you going to tell the man that made the story how it should be made? Like, if that's
Right.
the story he wanted to
Mhm.
tell, you can be mad about it, but don't say it's not true to the story. He
Right.
would know out of everyone in the goddamn world. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right.
No,
Right.
I love that
So,
because you're absolutely right, and that's why I think he's been taking so long to write that book.
right, right,
Right.
right, right.
Because he does the same
But
shit.
anyways, tangent over. Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, them sort of bonding. Joel seems to be somewhat coming out of his shell, but also very much still having a wall up this whole time. Obviously they play the same Hank Williams song that is in the game, "Alone and Forsaken." That's where the title of this episode comes from, is one of the lyrics. And then they set up camp. My only complaint about this scene is Ellie bites on her fucking fork when she eats. As soon as I was like, that's it. Nope. Negative points.
We got labor
Negative
here.
points.
The cargo's over. The adventure's over. We're
I
leaving.
couldn't believe it.
I forgot that bothered you so bad. I did notice she was chumping on that shit pretty heavy.
I was like, oh, it's so grating. Oh,
I know. She was fucking up that was it
that ravioli?
Chef
That Chef
Boyardee?
Boyardee? The childhood of my life, you know?
Oh god, I don't even think I could probably stomach that anymore. I'm pretty sure it's battery acid.
Yeah.
Man, yeah, that was my childhood. Some Chef Boyardee ravioli, man.
Yeah, that shit.
I'm glad it made it to the apocalypse.
Right. Is that saying that like you can still eat Chef Boyardee 20 years later? Is that what that's trying to say?
That might be the best endorsement they could ask for.
You're not being too picky in an apocalypse.
Yeah, that's true. I saw people eat a lot of dead cans of peaches in Walking Dead. So
right, but yeah, I mean, like this was also a good scene of how Joel doesn't quite know what he's doing still, in the sense where she asks him, no one's gonna find us. He's like, yeah, and then he stays up all night because he's like, I gotta tell this kid what. Sometimes I gotta make this kid go to sleep and comfort them, but I don't know.
But yeah, it's a funny dynamic that I don't know. It doesn't feel like, maybe I'm just forgetting. I don't remember all the story beats as well anymore. It's been a while since I played the game. But it feels like they're playing a little bit more into the difference between whether he's going to continue to treat her like a child, like an innocent child, and he's going to start treating her like a partner.
Right.
But yeah, just it's funny seeing them kind of go through that and have that situation. Because I feel like at some point, of course, he's going to have to treat her as a partner because it's an apocalypse. There is no innocence. You can't be innocent in the world. That's how you just lose your life. He should know that by now from his child. And I think we're getting just a more obvious read of that than we did in the first actual game, and I'm enjoying that so far. Because yeah, like you said, like, he's still like, you don't, I need to tell you these things to calm you down, and I don't believe it. Tell her straight, so she'll survive. Like,
right,
yeah. And we'll talk a little bit more.
But again,
about that,
like Joel says later, he's not good at this. He's not good at this. You know.
Yeah.
I also had a question. If I'm Ellie, no offense, Joel, why wouldn't you sleep in the truck?
This is what I was saying. When I watched it, I was like, you have plenty of. Also, you'd probably be a little bit safer too, because you'd have an easy getaway. To just sleep in the sleeping bags, it'd probably be a little more comfortable too. To be honest with you, what the fuck?
Exactly. Yeah, I thought that whole idea truck has 2 rows.
Yeah.
Anyways, it was a great scene either way.
Yeah, it was cute. It was endearing, and then it was also, like you said, showed a little bit to Joel being like, "Oh fuck, maybe she's right."
Right.
Yeah.
So my man had no sleep, trying to drive all day, all night to get to Wyoming in one. Like, that's nuts. But okay, Joel, I get it.
That's a long ass drive, bro.
It's a long ass drive. It's a long ass drive. Yeah. So Ellie says later, she's like, "Well, is it longer than 25 hours? Because that's about how long we got." So yeah. But yeah, I love that whole car scene. They even kept the little jump scare of Ellie not saying she's not tired and then immediately being passed out in the next frame.
A jump scare.
That big jump cut.
She's just like me for real,
right? But that was a great. I mean, and again, all that truck stuff was just really good bonding-ish moments between the two of them. Her hating his coffee, him kind of telling her about Tommy, and kind of criticizing Tommy. Also, we found out Tommy's the vet out of the two of them. He was the vet, you know.
Yeah, Desert Storm, baby. Don't ask
about
it. It's called the name.
Joiner. He likes joining.
He's a joiner. Right. Which I liked. Yeah.
Yeah, that felt right. Honestly, seeing what he did as soon as the apocalypse first broke out, that felt very his character. So that made sense when they kind of re-talked about that. Like, yeah, that man instantly went into soldier mode and saved all the people, and
he wants to be a hero, you know. Yeah. Whereas Joel's like the opposite. He's like, fuck everyone.
I'm just trying to survive myself.
I'm trying to save one person, you know. But I did like that we got a little background about him and Tess, and how that's how he met Tess, was through Tommy joining this group of people trying to get the boss in. And also Tommy was a Firefly. He joined, once again, he was a joiner. He joined the Fireflies, and that's it, you know. So it's very a lot of stuff in there, you know.
Yeah.
Now we get to Kansas City, Missouri / Kansas, whatever.
Why the fuck did they pick Kansas City?
Yeah, so this is a big difference in the game, and honestly, it doesn't make a difference. The city is Pittsburgh in the game, and the reason they say is because Canada, where they were shooting, didn't look like Pittsburgh and looked more like Kansas City.
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of.
And it's also more on the way. Like, Pittsburgh is south. Like, if you're going to Wyoming, you could just not go that far
Exactly.
south, I think.
Yeah,
And that was the other kind of reason.
I'm not really sure why they picked that in the games, especially considering the characters that you meet along the way,
Right. Yeah.
that will show up in this episode.
Probably just a closer city. I don't know. They wanted
Yeah,
to globetrot some more. Yeah.
maybe that's it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I also want to say I'm guessing because I don't know if you guys watched bits of SNL this weekend with Pedro in it. There was a skit where it was like a Super Bowl skit, and he was wearing a Chiefs jersey, and now they're in Kansas City. I'm gonna wonder if the Chiefs win the Super Bowl this Sunday. Let's find out. Let's
Oh,
see if
okay.
this.
I didn't even think about that. That's hilarious.
Yeah, and then so Kansas City, here we go. They can't get through a tunnel, so they got to drive around through this city. One thing I saw as they're driving and they're seeing it's desolate and everything. Devin, this is gonna break your heart because I didn't realize this until this episode. They passed a movie theater, and the last movie to be released in the world that I saw, at least that was listed, was this movie called Matchstick Men from Ridley Scott in 2003 in September. This means, Devin, that the world never got to see how the Lord of the Rings ended on the big screen.
Oh my
no.
gosh.
That
Oh,
broke
that's
my fucking
terrible.
heart.
That is super
Oh my
sad.
God. They never saw Return of the King.
Oh, they never got Revenge of the Sith either. They missed all the best
No.
ones.
Damn. All the memes. Think of all the when society does rebuild. Think of all the memes they missed out on.
Have they even finished The Matrix yet?
That's like
Damn.
the ultimate Snyder cut is like the apocalypse happened and you never got to see the end of the journey you wanted to. Everyone's going to be barging down Peter Jackson's door 20 years trying to keep him alive and be like, where's the film? We need it.
At least release whatever cut you got, bro. We need
Whatever cut was left in New Zealand, use it. Use it now.
Yeah.
Damn. I like that. That's a good deep cut.
I love that you looked at that. That's so funny.
Yeah.
And then obviously this is similar to the game. They get ambushed by a dude who's pretending to be hurt. This is pretty much straight up out of the game, I would imagine, except a slightly less epic. And I would imagine that's either because of budget or budget.
Well, how much more intense could it be?
I mean, the big thing that wrecks them is like they get hit by like a train.
Train?
It's like a not like they have set up a trap where like they let go of like a big. I think it's a train, right, Brian?
I think it is, yeah.
Yeah, it's like a train, and it just slowly rolls down a hill and crashes into them at the exact moment.
Oh no, the train's coming. We gotta get out of here. And then the train's just slowly coming down the hill.
Well, maybe if they didn't use that fucking airplane budget, they would have been fine enough to quit the train in there. It would have made more sense. Who would have thought?
I don't think this Joe would be dumb enough to stop on train tracks. Okay, I don't think that you'd get him that way.
That is the one thing that's a slight a difference in this, in the sense that they're definitely more grounded in this show because he only has to take out 2 dudes. In the game, it's like 80.
I feel like I died in this section quite a few times. Like, this is bullshit. He didn't get headshotted nearly enough times in this section.
Right.
Yeah, I also thought when he hit the gas that he was going to try to hit the guy, and he didn't. I think he just tried to swerve out of there. But then I think if you roll up and you know that there's an ambush this way, should you not just put it in reverse and just hightail it out of there as fast as you can? Why go towards them? I didn't love his logic.
Yeah, yeah. I guess in instincts head, if we can get through this, we can just outrun him. Maybe dip out real quick.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, those split second decisions could be
in the game. He hits the guy. The dude hits the windscreen at 1,000 miles an hour. It's nuts.
Well, I think that was Brian, wasn't it? Was that Brian? The first
that
lore?
Was Brian, who we see come back at the end of the scene.
Yikes!
They hit me, guys. It hurt.
Yeah, so it's not as epic, but I still liked it in its different ways, and we'll probably talk more about this when Devin is gone, maybe, because it's a bigger difference in that they skip everything from this section in the game, basically. A good chunk of it, because again, in the game, it's all action. Basically, you're just sneaking and fighting dudes, and
right.
So there's some conversations that I kind of missed that aren't here, but they're kind of here, but in a twisted way, much like they've been doing anyways. But I still really enjoyed it, and like I was saying, I really love the moment where Joel, he's explaining to Ellie to get into that hole, and he just looks at her and he says, "They're not gonna hit you, okay?" And just because he's terrified little child in front of him, he's imagining. So
you got to believe in yourself, or you're gonna freeze, and then you're gonna get shot. So
yeah,
he had to remind her, like, you can do this, you got this.
Yeah.
Going a little bit back to what you were talking about with like how they skipped such a big section. I think personally for me, and we'll talk about multiple parts of this. I think this was the weakest episode so far.
Hmm.
Yeah.
As far as things went. Yeah, I don't think that's crazy to say by any means, but I do think that they missed some interesting aspects of action that could have been here because they just wanted to, like you said, maybe it's just budget. They didn't want to waste the time and money on this episode so much. They knew they had bigger things coming up. And they wanted to keep it grounded with the
Hmm.
people.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like you said, they kind of just brought scope in very much to the point where, like, yeah, they didn't even
Yeah.
have very big, like, wide shots or anything like that because they didn't want to show you that there's only 3 people there.
Right.
And shit like that. And it's like I would have loved to see a little bit of sneaking parts, a little bit more talking about what we have to do to get rid of these people,
Yeah.
stuff like that. It just kind of became a one-on-one situation of here's me, this guy, and you, and how we solve that problem. And it's like that's not.
Right.
I don't even think it's realistic to think that that would be just 3 dudes coming after you. You know what I mean? Like that felt a
Yeah.
little. I lost
Hmm.
immersion there. I think.
Interesting. Yeah. I
Hmm.
will say that Craig Mazin has like he has a quote. I can't remember where he said it from, but that he hates filler. He is not a fan of filler.
And
So
that's
I'm
fair.
not surprised that it is just beat by beat by beat going. He's just moving, trudging through this story.
Yeah.
Which I like, but again, I think there is a world where infinite money, you could tell it could this whole first season would have been much longer. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
For
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
I guess maybe it's since it. I mean, it's an action game. Let's be real. It's an action game that you
Exactly.
get a movie with it as well. Um, I want a little more action. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Right.
the clickers were cool or whatever, and even that still kind of didn't hit as much as the games. And I guess I don't have to actually respond to my fear the same way. But
Mhm.
I'm just looking for just something feels like it's missing when it comes to their
Right.
action sequences, and that might just be they haven't filmed many and like directorially. Like
Right. Right. Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Brian then.
Oh,
fuck Brian.
this is some
Oof.
HBO stuff, man. They just love. I don't know if this happened in the game, but HBO just loves to just show you some fucked up, terrible things that are gonna haunt you. Like, and this was definitely one of them. I think it was worse because he used the knife. Like, I think if he just popped him real quick, then nobody bats an eye. But the
You don't
fact
want to
that
waste
he's like,
bullets.
I gotta save the ammo.
Yeah, in The Last of Us, bullets are scarce, bro. So that and like noise, just like there's already been bullets shot, you don't want to attract any more attention. So
Right,
I
right.
understood it, but I was like, oh, that's
I
that's
gotta
rough.
economically kill this guy. And the best way to do
Yeah.
it is this very sharp knife that he just offered me, just being a real nice guy.
I at first I want to ask you, did you guys believe Brian? Everything he
Absolutely
was
not.
saying, or
No,
He
no?
wouldn't have
not
even
at all.
gotten that many words off before he got shot. He would have been shot
Yeah.
immediately. Are you kidding me?
See, I didn't believe him either at first, but the moment he mentioned his mom, I think he's telling the truth.
But then why attack on sight? Because they attacked them. Like, they attacked first. So if they were really,
Oh no, I'm not saying I'm not saying like he was in the right, but like I'm just saying like I think he was telling the truth, and like it is one of those situations, as we'll talk about later. The cult, the people that are in charge here, they're just people.
well,
You know
yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean? And
yeah,
I think like he probably did have a mom who is now
yeah.
mourning him, and so yeah, it was just interesting.
And I guess that's the thing. Is like what you mean when you say like believing him. Like anyone when they're put up against a wall is going to break. You know what I mean?
Right?
Man is now fighting for his life. Anything that
Right.
he cared
Yeah.
The
about
power
in that
dynamic
moment prior
shifted.
to,
Yeah.
exactly, is now over with because he's about to lose his life.
Right.
Had he not lost his life, he would have shot that child. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so
Oh
that's
yeah.
kind of
Oh
that's
yeah.
kind of the thing where
Absolutely.
it's like, yeah, you're remorseful now because your legs don't work. Sucks to suck
Right.
shit. Like,
Jesus.
But I do like this aspect and also of how they, get you into the character of the leader of these people. But like, I think for me, this is a big difference with like Walking Dead, right? Where like Walking Dead, there was always some big antagonist that was like misleading people and like manipulating people. And there was always a
Mhm.
very clear villain. And I like that so far, people are just doing, like Joel says it later. He's like, I've been on the other side of that kind of ambush where
Yeah.
we did what we had to do to survive. So they're really driving home the point of like, people are just people. Everybody will do, whatever violence is necessary to protect their group, at the end of the day. Like, but, if they really wanted to trade or something, they could have done. I think there were other ways that could have gone down where that didn't do it. But I liked that
Absolutely.
they humanized Brian in that final moment, and he wasn't just like henchman
Yeah.
number 3. It's like, no, this is a scared kid that's about to die.
Yeah. This isn't a spoiler. That is very much a thing that they introduced in Last of Us Part 2, in the sense that normal NPCs will now be like, "Oh no, they killed Devin, or they killed Brian,
yeah,
or
they use people's
they
names
killed
and stuff
Phil."
to really make you feel bad about what you just did.
Yeah.
And I thought that they probably did that specifically because they did that in the second game. They're like, yeah, that shit
I think
works for
so.
sure.
Right.
Because like you said, in this game, what you see right there is, I mean, you're fighting enemies is what it really comes down to. You don't care about
they're NPCs purely.
They're just random dudes you're shooting. It doesn't really matter. So
exactly.
So I knew they figured they were gonna have to personify that for sure.
But I like how it is, like, if they met Brian in another context, maybe he would have been their biggest ally, right? Like, I like how they...
Because also that kid, I'm saying kid, he looked like a kid, you know?
Maybe 18.
So,
but I like how they they show you that this very bleak world requires that sometimes you just kill to protect your group, and that's the only thing you can think about. And it doesn't really matter who's on the other end.
That goes to a big theme of not only the game, but what the creators have been saying about the show is that the theme of this whole experience is love. And that sometimes you don't do great things for love, in AKA killing children or killing anyone around you to protect those like for love. Sometimes love makes you do not so great things. So I think that's very interesting.
And like neither side isn't, I mean, if you really think about their motivations too, like they just took out Fedra. They just
they liberated quote unquote themselves. Yeah.
Right. And so they're probably on edge because they're like, they might be expecting a counterattack, whatever. So,
and also they're looking for people, you know?
Right. So in this world where it's like, you never really know who you can trust. You never really know what strangers' motivations are, if they're good people or not. I mean, neither side was like in the wrong there, but like,
everyone thinks they're doing the right thing, just like in real life. Everyone thinks they're doing the right thing, you know?
Yeah.
This is what comes from it.
Yeah, that, and on top of that is that let's talk about Kathleen now, is that everyone has reasons to become who they are. And you kind of get glimpses of those reasons with this new Kathleen character who, spoiler, this is a comparison to the game, is not in the game at all. This is a completely new character to this universe.
It's funny because I know her from 2.5 Men. And
God, oh my God. That's where I knew her face from.
Yep, and that voice.
She's usually very comedic.
Yeah, she's got that baby voice that'd be killing me. Because for her to be a badass, take no cutthroat kind of person, then she sounds like a little mousy girl.
Yeah, this is the only casting so far in the show that I'm not really buying, because like you're telling me that this hardo military guy that like has this nice sling and the slick back hair, like 3%er motherfucker. You're telling me he's gonna take orders from like... Her name's Kathleen. I mean, it's only a few letters off from Karen. Like,
I was about to say, she was definitely a Karen pre-pandemic. Absolutely.
I'm just saying, like, the fact that this lady, like, who's shuffling around, like, she's even shuffling around a little bit, like, oh, I got to put my bootsies on because it's snowing outside. Like, that's like everything about her. I think
that's also like a bigger conversation of like, when push comes to shove, most people don't want to be leaders.
Right.
Most people do just want someone to tell them what to do.
Absolutely.
And if there is one person who takes up that mantle and no one else does, then I could see her being that person.
I was about to say, a motherfucker that was probably the top of the HOA is definitely taking leadership role instantly. Are you kidding me? She was the president of the HOA, making sure everyone got a ticket whenever their grass wasn't cut to a certain point. And the other guy is a guy from the military. A guy from the military is used to not leading. He's used to following whatever his fucking sergeant told him.
And from what we can tell, she has her reasons, is that her brother was beaten to death for reasons we still don't know yet.
Just
and
Fedra,
so, which is
just,
Right, yeah. And I'm excited to learn more about that, but like, I could see that she, at least for these people, had the biggest reason to take charge and be as pissed and maybe put some fear into people, obviously, because she executes that dude in cold blood, point blank.
He was a doctor.
Killing
he delivered her.
And also the guy that delivered you as a baby, that is cold-blooded.
That's nuts. Which I had to do math for a second, because I've seen that actor in a lot of stuff. And I was like, wait, he delivered her? How old was he? 8? I didn't realize that man is 76 years old in real life, and she's 45. So I was like, oh, that actually works. In which case, that dude looks great for 76 years old.
Aging like fine wine.
Yeah. It's like, damn.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I am struggling to buy these characters so far.
That's fair. Yeah.
I'm not feeling it quite yet. Of course, us knowing this being not part of the game itself, they're trying to personify people that aren't really personified in the game so hard. It's feeling a little cheesy right now, I guess the best way to put it. Like, I feel like I've seen it before. It's a little tropey. Where it's like, yeah, we got the people that are looking for the people. They liberate. I guess because I've seen a good chunk of Walking Dead. This feels like almost copy and pasted out of Walking Dead, just thrown on there. You know what I mean? Homeboy almost kind of looks like Rick Grimes a little bit. Let's be real. Like,
Yeah, it kind of does actually.
I don't know. This is the part that's gonna make or break kind of how I feel about this specific personification of these characters. If it's gonna be
Right.
throwaway and I'm not gonna care at the end, or if it's actually gonna add something real and meaty to what I'm seeing here. You know what I mean?
Well, she's looking
Right.
for like a kid, so maybe that the ones that sneak up on Ellie and Joel at the end, maybe that's her kid and that's the father or something, or I'm not really sure. But either way, like they're definitely trying to get you to humanize because she was kind of upset when she found that little
Mhm.
hideaway spot. So I think
Right.
it's maybe her kid or
I think it's pretty easy to assume that those two are the ones she's looking for.
for
Absolutely,
sure.
100%.
But it's like
Yeah.
so maybe it's like, but I think they're going to try to humanize her in that way. And I think that I like how you're probably by the end of next episode, we'll probably at least understand her motivations.
I hope
I
so.
really want to know, yeah, what the whole thing, because it seems like the one she's looking for is Henry and Sam. They mentioned those two names
Hmm.
in the show, and it seems like Henry did something that caused her brother to get beaten to death, and I want to know what that is.
It is.
Well, we'll
It
find
definitely
out.
feels like it's his fault because she is bloodthirsty.
Yeah, she
Right.
said, "Kill everybody you see in the city." Like, damn.
Yeah.
Real quick before we move on, I did want to, because we've been talking around him. Shout out to Jeffrey Pierce, who plays Perry, her right hand man. He was the actor who played Tommy in the video game.
That is
Which is
super
so
cool.
funny because now you have the guy that plays Tommy, acting wise, who sounds so much like Tommy, and then you have
Yeah.
actual Tommy who sounds so much like Tommy.
Yeah. It's pretty great.
I love how they're giving the voice actors work. I just love this.
Absolutely.
I love so
Yeah.
much. I love how that was a thought in their head.
I didn't realize he looked so fucking cool.
Yeah, last time I saw him, like, in interviews or whatever, he definitely didn't have as long of hair or that beard, so I wonder if he grew that out for this show, but I'm like, "Damn, alright, shit."
It works for him. He looks badass.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I just love how HBO was like, yeah, let's tap that talent pool and see if we can get anybody that and like
absolutely.
Marlene, it's just like, okay, we'll just literally throw her in the exact same role. Like, love
It's
it.
like
Yeah,
another thing that just feels good faith. You know what I mean? Feels
Yeah,
like you actually care
exactly.
about this. And I mean, like you said, it helps
Right.
having one of the people that created the game to be,
right.
in there. But yeah, it just feels good to see that kind of stuff where it's like, yeah, you're giving the people their flowers that they deserve because they made, they're a part of
Hmm.
a great game and they get a cameo and stuff. Like that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Agreed.
like, even, like, more than a
Yeah,
cameo, he is a character, like,
right.
yeah, it's awesome, terrific. Let's just finish because they only have one last bit. They have a big ass, like, sinkhole that they are just avoiding. They're like, let's just wait.
Why was it moving?
I'm assuming because in this show we've talked about they've introduced this whole, like, there's a network of
Right.
vines basically underneath. I'm assuming it's that, but also if you've seen the trailer for next week, there probably some infected in there, I would imagine.
Yeah.
It's
And I
probably not
guess
just vines.
that's where all their food was, I guess, or not really sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
All of Kansas City fell in that hole. There's just a sinkhole in the middle of the city.
Right. It could also just be, like a sinkhole. It just random occurrence.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that's gonna come back next week.
Hmm.
But yeah, that's kind of pretty much them. And so all we have left is Joel and Ellie continuing their little bonding journey slash hiding in Kansas City.
Going up the stairs is kind of funny because it made me think of the Final Fantasy VII remake. I don't know if did you ever play through
No,
that? Okay, there's a
no.
part where you have a choice either take the elevator or go up the stairs, and it's like 100 floors, and you have to actually go up all 100 floors.
Are you
And give you that
serious?
kind of vibe.
Are
Yeah,
you
yeah.
serious?
Like it's like I think you get an achievement for it if you go up all 100 floors.
Oh god damn it. Now I gotta do it.
And it's like it makes for good dialogue. I thought that was funny watching that man huff, and they're like, "We made it to 33."
33.
He was like, "That's enough for me. I'm old." I'm like, yeah, fair.
Yeah.
Felt
Yeah.
they would have found my ass on the 10th floor, maybe.
Right, right. Real quick though, I wanted to go back because there is a really good scene between them as they're hiding where Joel gives Ellie the gun. He
Yeah.
trusts her.
Yeah.
Um, and that's where he has the whole bit where he's like, "I'm not good at this," and Ellie's like, "Yeah, you're really not."
It just sucks that you're like that age, and you gotta um okay, take a gun. Okay, all right, bro.
Right.
You did your best. You tried.
But it's like
Yeah.
you see him struggling like
Mhm.
so hard
Yeah.
not to get fucking attached. Like he's
Right.
struggling
Right.
so fucking hard.
'Cause
Yeah.
she's fucking funny, dude. She's cute. She's funny.
She's
And
a charming kid,
she's
man.
She
fun to
wants to
be
shoot some
around.
people.
Made that man laugh. When's the last time Joel laughed?
Probably in 2003.
Yeah. Honestly. And you also find out that it's not the first time that she shot somebody.
It's not.
Womp
Not.
womp womp.
And yeah, we'll talk more about that later because I got some theories. But yeah, and so like Joel even says, "I'm sorry." He apologized to her for basically making a child He says the thing that you didn't actually kill him. Like Joel killed him, but she basically condemned that dude to death when she shot him. But at the same time,
You didn't kill him.
he can't be mad. She saved his life.
Right.
You just directly made it possible for him to be killed. But again, you did not kill him. But you did
I would
paralyze
say Ellie's
him.
like Batman. She just paralyzed him and she didn't actually kill him.
You left him hospitalized.
I'll just go see my mom. My legs don't work. Like, no.
Also, also, I mean, he was like on top of him, wrestling him, and she shot at his lower back. That could have easily hit Joel.
That was really worried about that too.
If there was ever a time to aim high and you have a clear shot at aiming high, I mean, she should have shot him in the head, in the heart, in the lungs. I mean,
Yeah.
Fun little gun nerd thing. When she took the bullets out to inspect him, when she first started going pew pew in the mirror and whatnot, those are Full Metal Jacket. Full Metal Jacket goes through people. Like,
Oh, no.
it can 100% hit other people.
I mean, I was very worried that Joel would have been shot too, yeah. So, but, you know.
Those were not fucking high point rounds. They were definitely could do exactly what you said. And now they're both paralyzed. Now nobody's legs work. Thanks, Ellie.
It's a show, you know. It's just perfectly shot him in the base of his back.
I thought she shot him right in the pussy. I thought I took that man right in the bunghole.
But yeah, no, I thought that was a really good scene. Obviously, Ellie now has a gun. Still not listening to Joel. It's in her jacket pocket. We'll see how that turns out.
Yeah, why? Just put it in the backpack or something. I don't know, something. They were very intentional about showing that jacket pocket. Now I have anxiety.
To be fair, though, if she hadn't listened to Joel about not getting a gun, he'd be dead.
This is true.
So
let me just
she's probably like, I'm not listening to you.
She's going to shoot her kneecaps off by accident.
Right. But I did love that, like, she's still a kid, and I think they're doing such an excellent job of balancing that, where that little giggle she has when he tugs on the gun, I'm like, oh my god, she's still a fucking child, and like, ugh, it just she's killing it, man. She's killing it.
Bang bang, yeah.
The pew pew was killing me when she was sitting there.
Yeah, she's
I'm a robber. Bang bang.
Right. Yeah. Obviously, then they head up in the building, decide to sleep there, and that's where Joel laughs. He full on uncontrollably laughs.
That man was giggling, fucking kicking his feet and everything.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think in that moment, Ellie's like, I got you, bitch.
Got me too. That was a good joke. I never heard that one before. You know, it's hereditary. It runs in your genes.
Yeah. I liked that Joel putting the glass around him. Also, he's pretty deaf in his right ear.
That was an interesting thing they did as well. Did a kind of whatchamacallit?
I was about to say, Devin, did you like connect with Joel on a deeper meaning on that in that moment?
A little bit, I guess, but it makes it makes it easier for him to sleep on that left side. So
yeah, I noticed he put his ear to the ground so quick.
Easy.
Except when he rolled over, and that's why he couldn't hear the two people come in the room.
What if they didn't come in through a window or something? They just came in straight on the glass, and
I'm assuming they did.
I thought they came in through a secret entrance or something, but it's like they just crunched through the glass, and Ellie's awake the whole time, yelling at Joel, Joel, people, Joel.
Joel, people. Sleeping soundly.
It's crunching loud as hell, and Joel's just yep, fast asleep. That would be me.
Snoozing.
That would be me.
Right.
Yeah. Got my sleeping mask on,
Not the sleeping mask.
If they get us, they get us,
At least my eyes will be closed and covered when they kill me.
Exactly.
I'm never trying to survive with Devin. What the fuck?
Right? I'm about to say, Devin, you are never lookout, bro. And that's it. They obviously are held hostage by two people who we're assuming are going to be Henry and Sam, considering all the context clues in this episode. And that's where it ends. I was real upset by this fucking ending, but damn.
Yeah. As soon as I hit the credits, I was pissed.
Yeah.
It looks like this episode and next episode are tied together, so I'm excited for next week. Very excited for next week after the trailer. Oh my gosh. Looked like a chunk infected is there.
Oof. This is one of the money drop episodes for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Right. I'm excited.
Real quick, shout out, the ending credits song is a song called True Faith, but it is a cover of a 1987 song that doesn't sound like it at all. But the reason they used it is because this is the song that was inspired them. They had it during the marketing of The Last of Us Part 2, and Ashley Johnson, who plays Ellie, actually did a cover herself of this song in one of the ads for it. But it was cool that they gave the original artist that made this cover credit and into this in this ending credit scene, which I thought was pretty dope.
That is cool.
Love that. Yeah.
I think that's kind of it. We covered all the little behind the scenes as we discussed already. Yeah, we kind of covered all the big video game comparisons as far as similarities and I think more of the major differences. I think we'll save Devin from hearing these. I think um, for whenever he does play that game in maybe the next decade.
Aw. PlayStation 6 exclusive.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, I'm excited for next week. And by next week, I mean this Friday, because also we noticed that it
True,
is dropping
true.
this Friday. Thank you, Super Bowl.
Yeah, honestly, great. Love it. Love it. Don't have
Hell
to wait as
yeah.
long.
But it is gonna make the wait till the next episode that much
Oh,
worse, though.
Right.
you're right. Dang.
But yeah, so listeners, that is the end of this bit. We will say goodbye to Devin.
Mm-hmm.
Devin, unless you have anything else to say before you leave.
Nope, that's it. So, very curious to see what happens next
Alrighty.
week.
Yeah, we'll see you next or later this week, I guess. Then, Devin.
All right. Sounds good. Love you guys. See ya.
Love you, man.
Love you, man. Shh. There's a clicker over there. Future spoilers. This is the future spoiler section, listeners, where everything is kind of on the table. Last of Us Part 1, Part 2, the DLC, all of that is on the table for us to discuss. So if you don't want any of that, you should hop out now. Give you a little more time. And also, we'll probably do some more of the video game comparisons about this episode as well, but we just kind of joined it all here, so just so we don't spoil that for Devin either, because there are some pretty big differences in terms of the video game. I kind of miss. I don't think they're gonna get it, but they might, but it doesn't seem like it because they've already passed it. I kind of miss the scene where, because the context is different with the whole him giving her the gun and trusting her thing.
Mhm.
Is a lot different in the game. In the sense that, for one thing, Ellie kills the dude who's about to kill Joel.
Right.
She shoots him in the
I was about to say, I thought it was
head.
gonna be a headshot. Then when he was still talking, I was like, "What's up? What's going
Yeah.
on?" Because yeah, they kept it. Didn't he? He was still getting choked out with like the same weapon, wasn't he? I thought they kept that pretty similar.
No,
Or was it something
the
different?
dude was drowning him in a puddle.
Oh, he's in a puddle. That's right. Yes, this part.
He was choking Joel underwater. Joel was trying to reach for a gun out of reach, and then all of a sudden, a hand comes out of frame, grabs it, and shoots the dude in the head, and it's Ellie.
It's
Because that's
bad.
another thing. They get separated in the city
Uh-huh.
for a brief moment, which is another big difference, is Joel falls down an elevator shaft.
Classic video game
Which
shit.
I assume I could see why they cut that, because if anyone saw that in a real person do that, they'd be like, that person should be dead. Because he falls like
Pretty.
10 stories.
Right.
Yeah, so obviously no creepy underground basement bloater, big stalker, clicker nonsense. It's very creepy. None of that happens. And yeah, so when they get together, he's pissed at her because one, she had a gun and she killed a guy, and he's like, I can't like, I'm glad a kid didn't blow my head off, and she's pissed at him like, no,
That
I
saved
need
your
you to
life.
like,
I'm
how about
useful.
thank you?
Because that's the thing.
Yeah.
That's her. She keeps trying to, and I don't know if they're quite hitting that mark as well in the show so far. I mean, she says it, but it doesn't feel right because she really hasn't done much so far. But her just trying to
Mhm.
prove like I am useful. I can do things to help you. I'm not
Right.
because she's still being seen as a liability mostly. At this point, because he
Right.
hasn't learned to trust her and care about her yet. So
Mhm.
yeah, I do kind of wish they were pushing that a little bit harder. And also that scene is just badass. Like I forgot all about that scene. Yeah, he's in water getting drowned, and like that's
Yeah.
you're stressed. I wasn't nearly as stressed about the he's got the wrench on him, just fucking
Right. Exactly.
And yeah, I don't know. It didn't feel as well shot as I feel like it could have. I don't, and
I could
a lot
agree
of
to
this
that.
episode feels like that, where I just don't feel like it was shot, and that's why I'm like maybe they just haven't done a lot of action scenes before.
Right.
So maybe it's a little tough for them, but it's just like yeah, some of the crashing of the truck just felt a little
The moment where
boring.
Joel's about to get his head smushed into a piece of glass that's sticking out,
Right,
like,
right, yeah.
and you have to fight him back. Yeah.
Like so those are good moments, not just because they're fun gaming moments or whatever, but I just think that like appeal wise of like what the scene setup looks like is good. I think they did some really good
Right.
camera work in those kind of sections where I feel like it's just kind
Yeah.
of missing here.
I also think it's a thing where I feel like they've established that this Joel is not as strong as the video game Joel. Like, because the video game Joel is like,
He's a
he's got
superhero.
dad's strength
Yeah.
times
He's a
1,000.
superhero
Yeah,
for
like
sure. I mean, you saw that man's fucking
his forearms.
yeah, as far as
Yeah,
crazy
they're
in the
massive.
game.
They're like tree
Yeah.
trunks.
He can't fit no shirt that Frank was wearing. No way.
Right. And like, and so obviously, like with this Joel and how he's tired of climbing stairs. Obviously, he looked like he's holding his knee, and like in that fight against one dude, he hurt himself a little bit. Like he's getting nicked all the time, and so they're kind of taking that element out of it for now at least. So that's I was assuming that's why they can't have him beat 40 men to death with his bare
And that's fine. You don't have to beat 40
hands.
men to death, but like Jesus Christ, man. Like, I don't know.
I would have liked more than 2.
Yeah, I don't know. Because he's also like a pretty good. You would think he was a veteran at this, but I guess he is still just trying to survive. Maybe he's not as much of a veteran in this version of Joel. Where I think that he could beat up some children. You know what I mean? Like these kids probably just learn
Right.
how to handle a gun if they even ever learned.
Right. Yeah, that's why I was saying, like, in the earlier episodes, I think I still need Joel to kick some more ass a bit.
Yes,
I need him to beat some people to
I
death.
agree. Especially with like the juxtaposition of like Tess and how she was, and like even though she was beat up in the beginning, they were afraid of Tess. They were afraid of
Right.
Tess because Tess had Joel. And Joel is that fucking scary. You know what I mean? To the point that Robert was
Exactly.
like, please, whatever you don't tell Joel. Like, that's what I want to see. It's like,
I need to see
I want to
yeah,
see the
yeah,
don't
a
tell
little bit.
Joel kind of Joel, where it's like, holy, who the fuck is that?
Right. Right. And I think a part of me thinks that I think that that's past us, and I think their way of that was him beating that one guard to death
Right.
with his
Which,
bare hands, and I think that was it, and
that was
it's
fine.
fine.
Yeah.
And again, I think by the end of this, it might be one of those things where maybe this should have been 12, 13 episodes,
Maybe.
you know?
Yeah.
Which is funny, but
Right.
again, I'm still really digging it. I'm still really loving it. But
For sure.
it is one of the other things where I missed the conversation that follows that, where Joel trusts Ellie and he gives her a big rifle to like basically like cover him as he goes and kills 40 more men.
And he does more Nathan Drake ass shit. Yeah.
Yeah, and he has great dialogue between her where he's like, "When I'm down there, you make every shot count." And she's like, "I got this." And then before he leaves, he turns to her and he goes, "Oh, and by the way, back there, it was either him or me." Basically saying like, "Thank you," but he can't even say those words to her. And so he leaves and Ellie just looks and she's just, "You're welcome." To no one yeah, to no one. And I do miss that scene, but they twisted it around in this episode and gave it to us a little bit in their own way. And that's what an adaptation is, I guess.
Yeah,
Like,
for
yeah.
sure. For sure.
I think that's it, pretty much. And now, future. Let's talk. I don't know if you have anything else to say about future questions.
We got to talk about Henry and Sam. What the fuck?
I was gonna say, yeah.
We have to talk about Henry and Sam because that's crazy. It's funny hearing Devin talking about and how like his kind of thought process around that of being like, yeah, that sounds like that's probably Henry and Sam. I don't know.
I
We'll learn more
love how
about
he doesn't know.
because that's interesting. I mean, that maybe
Yeah.
that did shock a lot of people. Or like, who the fuck are these people? We're gonna find out next episode.
Right.
Okay, that's fair. Us knowing is a really interesting thing. And that was another reason why I was like, maybe they changed the location, not just because it was in Canada, it looked more like, you know, Kansas City. Uh Henry and Sam are from like Connecticut. I don't know that many black people from Connecticut. I'll be real with you. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there was a bunch of black people, but I don't know black people from Connecticut, so I don't really understand why they would put them from there. That seemed like a really random city to choose, Hartford specifically.
Right.
So yeah, I was like, okay,
That's
Kansas,
funny.
Missouri. Missouri has black people. Yeah, okay.
Right. Yeah, they could be from there.
No one's got an accent, which
that's
is kind of funny.
Right. I mean, I guess people travel from in this world. They're just traveling to anywhere
Yeah,
it's
where
safe.
there's
So
people, I
who
guess.
knows?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Henry and Sam, like, it's gonna. I hope. It sounds weird me saying I hope they kill a child like in the game, but it's gonna like this kid's young, dude. That Sam is a baby.
Yeah, they chose an 8-year-old boy right there.
It's gonna be rough.
They gotta do it, man. Like the point.
I think they have to.
Like HBO and Game of Thrones and stuff like that. Like
Right.
you gotta do it. Like
Yeah.
it's not gonna sit with you the same way if they do something goofy to like make him not actually like show an off screen something. Like I don't know. Like I don't want to you don't gotta show him beating his head in or anything like that, like crazy like that. But like
Right.
you gotta show it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if Walking Dead did something. They had a kid about similar age that spoilers for Walking Dead, I guess. I don't remember.
Spoilers for
I
Walking
guess
Dead.
I don't remember
Yeah.
enough about it to even tell you when that happens. But there was a kid that I think they show him get shot. I think they show him die. But he's zombified. But they show him die.
Right. Also, spoilers for Walking Dead. I don't know if I think you got this far because you got further than me. What's her name? Who's the badass older woman?
I don't remember. Carolyn or something. Carol.
Carol.
Yeah.
Carol at one point kills a little girl because the little girl is like she's a little Dahmer. She's a little sociopath. And so she shoots her in the back of the head. You don't see it, but she shoots a little girl in the back of the head.
Bitch.
So
I forgot about that. She goes crazy, but
yeah. And so, yeah, I mean, I do wonder how it's all gonna go, 'cause I have a theory just based on what we've seen that they're gonna combine the whole sewer city thing
Pro
into one
mhm.
location, and so, like, all those infected are gonna be the
And that's
sewer
why the sinkhole's
infected that
there
are
to kind of
normally
put that
r
together, yeah.
right. And so I do wonder if they're still gonna do the whole thing where Sam gets bit, he turns, and Henry has to kill him, and then Henry takes his own life. Like, that's
Gotta. And I just wanna know what the story's gonna happen between that, because I don't we don't really know much about Henry's story when we meet Henry and Sam in the games, do we? Like, they're just guys that were just
no.
from the QZ, and they were just on the run.
They were traveling, and they got
Mhm,
ambushed and separated from
mhm,
their
and
group,
that
and
was all
that's
we
it,
know. So,
as far as we
them
know.
having, like someone having a vendetta against them is interesting, because 'cause I'm like, what is that gonna change as far as the
Yeah,
storytelling goes before that point, which I assume has to
right,
happen, ends up happening? Will it be different?
right.
Will they kill Sam? You know what I mean?
I'm gonna s yeah, and that's where I'm thinking maybe old Kathleen takes them both out, or at least one of them out, and but then that to me is just Sarah again.
Right, and also potentially Walking Dead, which kinda scares me as well, where there's gonna be a lot of spoilers for Walking Dead. But that's what scares me, because I feel like this part feels so Walking Dead, and I'm so afraid they're just gonna do what Walking Dead already did 10 years ago, which kinda
Right,
feels kinda gross. Because, I mean, we had this difference between how Tess died. She died from the infected as opposed to dying from just some Fedra or whatever. But if they change this
mhm.
where instead of this kid dying to the infected, he dies to people, will that feel wrong?
I think the infected need to take someone we love. I guess the test kinda counts, but
Yeah, I
I
just feel like
don't yeah,
I don't know. I just it. I guess I'll have to see how it feels. I really just have to see how it plays out, because I'm a
right,
little nervous with it, because there's a point in Walking Dead. I don't remember the point. It was like a hospital scene or something, maybe like season 4 or 5, where
mhm.
this woman shoots also shoots a child. Another child fucking dies. Shoots a girl, and yeah, in the head,
Oh,
just
yeah,
headshots homegirl. And then is like instantly
yeah,
remorseful about it, because like, "What? I didn't actually really mean to do that. I was just trying to like scare y'all off. I don't want to be a
right,
awful human." And I feel like it's gonna be something like that, where it's like Kathleen gonna be like, "I'm gonna take something from you because you took something from me," and then shoot her, and then instantly like,
yeah,
"What the fuck have I done?" And it's like I felt that before. I
yeah.
know
The
that.
only hope for me is the fact that they did put that Chekhov's infected hole, that sounded grosser than it meant I meant
He should go to the
to.
doctor about that. I don't know that he should.
Yeah, where there's clearly infected
Right.
coming, and so that gives me hope that they will play a part, obviously, and at the same time, I'm like, I think they need to have a tragic ending, because we just had Bill get a happy, quote, unquote, "happy ending," even though it ended in
Right.
death. Different ending, a lot happier than the game, and I think giving everyone a happy ending might
Right.
not work if they do it, so I think this has to end
And I
tragically.
think also I think it would be a good story plot line to make it happen, because then it's going to give Joel another reason to keep training Ellie to be better, because you'll see what Sam looks like as someone that just is kind of seen as useless. Like Henry always has issues with him being too much of a
Right,
baby, and him not is the complete opposite of what
right.
Joel feels like. Well, Joe's like, stay a kid, please stay a child. Henry's like, no,
Yeah,
we need you as a partner, because we're going to survive through this shit, and that's how we do this. So to
right,
see that
right.
that juxtaposition, I feel like would be very powerful if they do it that way. So he gets bit because he's being a stupid child, maybe playing with toys or Megazord or whatever the
Exactly.
fuck he likes to do, and then he gets bit or
Right.
something. I think that would just be so much better. So please do that. I hope they do that.
I don't know, I this thought just crossed in my head as you said that. I do wonder if they do change it, it's because maybe people will complain, it's like, "Oh, well, Tess just got bit and we lost her. This is the same thing again." Whereas obviously in the game, it's hours, so it doesn't feel the same at
Right.
all. So, I don't know, it's gonna be
Yeah, because then
very
that's the thing
interesting.
too. Is like if they don't make it a thing where the vendetta ends with someone losing someone between Kathleen Perry and Henry and Sam, then those characters will be useless
Uh-huh.
again. They'll not have any power. You know what I mean? Because what would their story
Right.
be if that doesn't end with them getting some kind of revenge of some sort or anything happening?
I think that whole city is fucked once those
Yeah,
infected. I think that's what I think Kathleen, Perry, they're all dead by infected at
and
the
that's
end of
what
this
makes
next
me
week.
not care about them, and I feel like I'm supposed to.
Yeah,
Because that's exactly how I feel. I feel like they're gonna be throwaway characters to die in the fodder, and then us be like, "Well, that sucked." Anyway.
that's fair. That's fair. We'll see. It's gonna be interesting. I think next week's episode is longer than this week. I think this is
Oh
like
yeah.
the shortest or the second shortest of the whole season that we're gonna get. So hopefully we get a big boy.
Do you think they're gonna end it with the Henry shot?
I don't think it'll be exactly the same. I think you'll see the shot, and then it'll cut to maybe Ellie and Joel kind of reacting, and then cut to black.
I want to
I
cut
would be
straight to
shocked if
black.
it ends I would be shocked.
I wanted to go full Game of Thrones level, like when what's his face got his hand chopped off and he just screams and then it goes to black. I wanted to be just like that.
Yeah, that would be nuts.
So you just have to sit with it.
Yo.
Like just like fuck.
I would give them props.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Because those cuts to black in the game are so powerful. They always hit me.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah. 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 It's gonna be rough. It's gonna be tough to watch.
But yeah, I'm just my biggest fear again. There's another hurdle that I feel like if they hit it, then they've knocked the show out the park. Even if they miss a little bit, it still won't be bad. Of course, this show has been amazing so far.
Right.
But these are some of the two. Even though you're not with them very long in the game, they're powerful. Like this is one of the strongest things I remember from the story. Is this? I know like maybe 5 moments from this game as a whole that have just stuck with me for 10 years. That's one of them where it's just like
right.
You got really strong characters, and you got Kathleen and Perry. If y'all fuck that up, where none of this feels powerful, then I'm be disappointed. Honestly,
we'll see. I also wonder because we see that they use ALS to not ALS ASL. Excuse me. They use ASL to communicate.
I feel like you said that before. Maybe I'm having deja vu, but I swear you said ALS another time.
I said ALS last week because I was saying I think Frank has ALS.
Okay. So that
MS.
was true. You were right there. Okay, I was about to say.
That one I was right about. No, because it looks like Sam is deaf, or at least they just use that as a tactic. So
that's what I'm thinking. It might be, but maybe it will be. Maybe they'll have a little moment with Joel and they'll be like, we both can't fucking hear. But then wouldn't that also just be another show that we saw fucking Hawkeye?
Right. Yeah. So we'll see. My last thing is, I'm assuming Ellie is talking about Riley when she says it's not the first time.
I'm surprised we're taking so long to hit that story beat. I don't know. I still don't know where they're going to fit it.
I don't know either, man. We only got 5 left, and they still have to finish this Henry Sam story. Then they have to get to Tommy's and do the whole school, Joel getting impaled potentially, or at least significantly hurt, where Ellie has to go on her own, tackle David and the Left Behind stuff,
so
and
maybe
then
that's it. Maybe it'll happen during the David stuff. Maybe it'll happen like right before the David stuff starts, so it'll go back into her life and then show her existing in the wild or whatever. That's the only other place I feel like it can make sense at this point.
It has to.
Because we're getting pretty far in there, and we still don't know shit about Riley.
It's a lot. Yeah, but we'll see, man. I'm excited though. I'm so excited to see next week.
I really am. So. This might be one of those series that I'm gonna have to buy the DVD that comes out afterwards.
Oh, I'm already. Yeah, hell yeah.
Oh, I know you're set for that. You're gonna get the steelbook for sure.
Buy this baby.
It's actually making me like. I really want to buy the remake now. I was really, I was super less than lukewarm about it because I was like, I fucking played this game so many times. I don't feel like I need to buy another $60, $70 version of this game that I already have. But now I'm really itching to play it, and I hate that I have just the remake, the remaster to play. I'm like, fuck. I know it doesn't look that much better, but like, fuck.
No. As I'm playing the remaster, yo, that shit look terrible. No, it doesn't look terrible, but compared to the remake, I'm like, yo, this is night and day.
Really?
It's kind of
nuts. I'm so afraid to start playing it, and then like, because if I buy it again in March, that'll just be goofy. But like, I really want to get to the points and like see the similar. Because like you said, I forgot some of these story beats, and I didn't even realize.
Yeah, I just finished playing up till meeting Henry and Sam earlier today.
Oh yeah, nice.
But yeah, it's night and day, and it's a lot of obviously it's the upgraded graphics, but also it's the little things like picking up stuff is more detailed. The just all of the animations are so much more detailed. Your guns now look different as you add upgrades to them. They change, and it's like so like oh yeah, it's definitely worth it. But that's so funny how the itch got you.
Yeah, they knew exactly what they were doing. I hate that when consumerism works. Yeah, it was smart, and I hate it.
Yeah. All right, I think that's it. We've been going for a while, but this was fun. This was a great chat about this one, man.
I can only be always excited for this. This is my favorite things to do so far. Every week.
All right, listeners, you can email us at thefortressof@gmail.com. Fortress spelled FOUR. Feel free to email us any questions, recommendations, or anything like that. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and the YouTube channel at The Fortress of. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your grandma, tell your cat. 5 stars preferably, but whatever you like. Thank you, Jackie, for helping out at the podcast every week. Thank you, Brian, for the art, Alex for the music, and Devin, thank you for being here, even when you're not here. You can find Brian on Instagram at ITZ_, by the way, Alex at Peterson Films, and Devin, you can find him hiding at the 33rd floor of a building in Kansas City. Yeah. Brian, I meant to do this last week, and I completely forgot. last Fourtress Finest, where me and Devin did the Rings of Power, we introduced a thing where we had sign-offs that were designated to whatever we were talking about. It was usually like a line from the episode. So this week, I want us to do this for the remainder of these episodes. So I brought one. You already said it, but we can do it again. So I'm gonna lead you in, and I think you'll know where to pick it up. So
I hope so. My brain don't work very good.
thanks for listening, listeners, and we'll see you next week in episode 5 of The Last of Us, or actually this week. Look for it Saturday probably, or Sunday or Monday, something. So Brian, did you know that diarrhea is genetic?
It runs in the genes. Bye-bye, dude.
Bye-bye, dude. Bye, listeners.
That shit did actually make me cackle. I was like, damn, that's so fucking stupid.